there for 1 past the turn back. Ryne, I think, contemplating playing. I see a Master Trinketeer in his hand. That card's a straight bomb, but he's going to lead off with a Gear Shift Ace, 2-1 first striker.
Now, of note here, Maria, Frank has missed his second land drop, though it looks like he's found his third off the top of the library here.
Okay.
So we'll see if he can recover from this stumble.
Gets in there for 1 again with the Eddy Trail Hawk. Blue-white is traditionally a deck in this format that I think is focused on blink and flyers. So my question is often, do you really need an Eddy Trail Hawk in a deck that is already flying? But I don't know.
That's a totally legit question, Maria. You know, I think that the Eddy Trail Hawk is actually best in a green-white deck.
Yeah.
The energy is relevant to the green cards, and then you can get, there's a bunch of green commons that are really big. They just, you know, we call it keyword big, right? They're just huge, and the Eddy Trail Hawk can say, hey, come with me, and send them over into the red zone as dragons. And there's one of them right now.
Pima Outrider, 3/3 trample, fabricate 1. Meanwhile, Ryne has gotten in there with his Gear Shift Ace for 1, which has first strike, so the Windrake can't profitably block it.
Yeah, for 2, yeah. And it looks like he's decided to make a servo here with the Pima Outrider.
So yeah, so green-white, an interesting color combination that can really go big or go wide because of its fabricate mechanic.
Yeah, totally, and there's actually benefits to doing either, depending on what type of deck you end up with yourself. You can get Inspired Charge to pump up all of your tokens and make that a thing.
Janjeet Sentry for Frank Skarren. I like this card a lot. You get 2 energy when it comes into play, and you can tap a creature on the opponent's side of board, paying 2 energy.
Yeah, you can tap or untap an artifact or creature with it. It does cost 2 energy, and tapping it to do so. No mana, but 2 energy is quite a bit.
2 energy is more than than the usual amount you play for something like Eddy Trail Hawk, which is 1.
Right, but at the same time, you can see Frank's already got 4 energy on the top, though. It looks like Fairgrounds Warden's going to just slap that sentry right off the board here.
Handcuffed. Goodbye.
Yeah, that's actually really good for Ryne on multiple levels. A, it takes a blocker out of the way. B, it takes a potential card that can tap down the Pima Outrider.
Yep.
And C, and this is a big one, he's playing against blue-white. There's not a lot of ways to get that thing off the battlefield in blue-white. Most of its ways to remove creatures tend to be enchantment-based, which would leave the Fairgrounds Warden on the battlefield and thus keep the Janjeet Sentry locked in underneath it.
Yeah, Frank's going to smash in for 3 here. Yeah, blue-white notably it's got access to things like revoke privileges, captured by the consulate, malfunction, those sorts of removal spells. So it's just more locking things down rather than dealing with them for good and getting them off the battlefield.
It's like a thriving Ibex here for Skarren in what ultimately is a deeply fair start here for Skarren, right? This is you know, these cards are all fine, but you know, you look at what Ryne's doing on his side, and he's got a Pima Outrider, very powerful common. He's got the Fairgrounds Warden, really great uncommon, one of the better uncommons in the set. And even the Gear Shift Ace is a great uncommon. They're all better than his cards.
Shift Ace.
Oh yeah, that's your guy?
I mean, if you're going to play a Renegade Freighter and crew it with a Gear Shift Ace, what is your opponent going to do?
They will die, and quickly.
This looks like an Elegant Edgecrafters from Ryne. Going to choose to put 2 counters on it.
I'm kind of surprised that he did that. You know, again, you do run the risk here if you put the counters on a removal spell of the ones that you described earlier, kind of blanking your 6-drop for just 1 card, where if you make the 2 1/1s, you know, you still have a viable threat with the 3/4 that can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less, but you also get the 2 1/1s in there as well. Though this is interesting, as Frank seems to be taking the race to him. Sending the Ibex to the sky and putting a counter on it, looks like? Is that what you're seeing?
How many energy did he have prior?
6.
Yeah.
So 2 energy went to the Ibex and 1 to the Eddy Trail Hawk.
Flies on over.
Yeah. Flying goats. Yeah, we did it.
Propeller Pioneer from Frank. Fabricate on the stack. He's going to choose to make a servo. That seems correct.
He is doing everything he can to just try to close out this game in the air. You can see that he has, in fact, assembled lethal damage in the air.
Yep.
All Frank has to do is survive this turn, and he can win this game. You know, it didn't look good for him But that
Blue-white
last turn
flyers.
was
I mean,
nice.
in this format, I think flying is above average, Marshall.
Agree.
All right, well, Ryan's coming in. He's got the elegant edge crafters coming in for 5. Pima Outrider, Gear Shift Ace, and the servo.
Oh, are we going to see select for inspection
I
here
think
from
we are.
Skarren?
There it is.
Wow, and this is another way that he's going to punish Ryne for putting those 2+1/+1 counters on the edge crafters rather than making the 1/1s.
And he gets a scry out of the deal.
Indeed.
How do you feel about select for inspection? I love it.
I dig it.
Yeah.
That's my kind of card, though. I'm a little biased, perhaps.
Well, it's so good in a format where you're going all in on vehicles and fabricate.
Totally, I agree. Yeah, I actually like the card quite a bit. Also, I've done a fair share of returning my own creatures more than I thought. You know.
Save them from a removal spell, or if they get locked down with a malfunction, bounce it right back to your hand.
Yeah, well, one of the interesting things too is that you can also just get enters the battlefield effects re-triggered again. Sometimes you just need another 1/1 or something along those lines.
Replay your Propeller Pioneer, for instance.
Exactly.
Make another servo.
Right, that does happen. Or Cloud Blazer. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Live the dream, Marshall. Live the dream. I was playing a sealed event the other day, and I bounced my Cloud Blazer 3 times.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I'm jealous.
Felt good.
Immediately jealous.
Felt good.
So Frank's at 6 here.
Yeah.
But so is Ryne.
All right, he's played a Master Trinketeer, a 3/2 for 3, which gives your Thopters and servos +1/+1 for 3 and a white. You can create a servo. This card's just a bomb.
It is, but it looks like he's kind of dead here, doesn't it?
It sure does.
He's got a couple of cards in hand, but Frank can attack with the 3/3 Ibex, the 2/2 Windrake, and the 1/1 Eddy Trail Hawk, giving the Ibex flying.
And Propeller Pioneer.
And then he's even got the Pioneer as a backup plan here.
Yeah, so Ryan could be representing impeccable timing, for instance.
That would do it. Now, Frank attacking with everything, though, means that even impeccable timing does not get the job done here.
Goats in the air. All right, that does it. Frank takes game 1.
You said it, Frank. Goats in the air, and we have a winner there.
All right. We're going to jump ahead since this was recorded, skip past the shuffling for you. Just a service we provide here at GP Coverage. But as I was saying earlier, I'm a huge fan of the Blue-White Skies deck. I just think it's really powerful in this format, particularly because there's so much big beef on the ground with vehicles and large green creatures that I think it has an advantage that sometimes it doesn't have quite as strong an advantage in other formats. Ryan has a turn 2 play here. Prophetic Prism again.
Yeah.
Draws a card.
Pretty good for Frank. Prophetic Prism obviously puts no pressure on your opponent, and he is looking to race, as we saw in that first game. And here we go with that Eddy Trail Hawk.
Same game. Gear Shift Ace for Ryan.
Is this just the same game?
I mean, it looks like it.
No, Frank hit his 3rd land drop.
Okay. Getting in for 1 again. Dropping Ryan to 19. Vidalcan Blade Master for Frank, which is a 2/3 with prowess. That's a handy little card.
Yeah. Looks really nice here, too, to block the Gear Shift Ace.
Yeah.
And attack into it potentially as well.
I get scared of prowess more than I should, Marshall, but I do. I'm often terrified of it.
There are blowouts possible. See if he's got a Propeller Pioneer here on turn 4.
That would be
a really
great.
nice curve for Frank.
Yeah, no play from Ryan. He's just going to get in there.
Ryne has the opportunity to block with Gear Shift Ace and use a combat trick of some sort.
Sure.
But I don't think Frank really cares. I think he would be fine with that.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. There you go. Propeller Pioneer.
He may just put the +1/+1 counter on it here.
I would. That's exactly what he does. Nothing wrong with the 3/2 flyer.
That was nothing from Ryne on turn 4. Just
That's
stone
hard.
nothing. Turn 2 Prism, turn 3 Gear Shift Ace, turn 4 play a land, do nothing. That
hurts.
Against these tempo-based decks like you've been describing, Maria, that is going to be really tough to come back from.
Multiform Wonder here from Ryne, though.
Okay, that's some business.
Fantastic card. It's a 3/3 for 5. You get 3 energy when it enters the battlefield. You can pay an energy to give it +2, -2, or -2, +2 until end of turn, as well as flying, lifelink, and vigilance. Each costs an energy. The flying and the lifelink, pretty important here.
Yeah, both of those are going to be really, really good. Now, if Frank has a removal spell for the Multiform Wonder, I think it's going to be really difficult for Ryne to come back from the stumble that he had earlier in the game. But if Frank doesn't, even just with the 3 energy, he can make it a 3/3 flying with lifelink by only paying a couple of energy from that. And that could be enough to gobble up a creature here.
Oh. Frank attacks.
That's an interesting attack. So Ryne has the opportunity to use up 3 energy. One, well, maybe even just 2, but 1 to give it flying.
Yep.
And then another one to give it -2, +2.
Yep. He's just going
to block if he'd like. That would keep it alive. Or he could jump it and then trade it by just paying no energy. Or he could jump it, trade it, and give it lifelink to gain some life. He doesn't actually have a great block here, though. Either way, the Propeller Pioneer would survive the attack, and Multiform Wonder would be down on energy significantly, so he just doesn't block at all.
Frank, with a great play, Cloud Blazer coming in, gaining 2 life, drawing 2 cards.
This is getting out of hand.
Oof, that hurts. Have you had the opportunity to play a Cloud Blazer yet, Marshall?
Why did you have to bring that up?
You haven't?
No.
Are you serious?
I'm not.
How many drafts have you played?
All I ever want to do in this world is play that card, and I have played like 13 drafts total and have yet to have one in my deck.
Fairgrounds Warden going to take care of that Propeller Pioneer.
That's some business.
Yep.
Now we got a game.
Follow-up play from Ryne is going to be a Kujar Seat Sculptor, giving a +1/+1 counter to itself.
Or something. He can put it wherever.
He can.
Yeah, there you go.
He's going to put on the Gear Shift Ace.
That makes a lot of sense.
More sense.
That actually unlocks an attack here for him.
Yep, getting in for 3. Frank, not a really good block in store for him. He's going to take the damage.
Yeah, he'd have to triple block to get rid of the Gear Shift Ace. He did consider that option. Decided against it.
Yeah, this is where he really needs to have something to follow up to put the pressure back on in the air.
Yeah, he will slowly fall behind if Frank doesn't find a way to deal with the Multiform Wonder.
That Fairgrounds Warden was quite a tempo play.
Well, Frank's got 5 cards in his hand, so you got to figure he's got something he can do here.
He did just recently draw 2.
Yeah.
There's a Renegade Freighter.
What do you call that?
I call that the Pain Train, Marshall.
Train. That's a very apt name for anybody who's ever played against the Renegade Freighter.
Absolutely.
And it looks like he's going to give the Blade Master flying here with the Eddy Trail Hawk.
Multiform Wonder coming in for the block. Ether Meltdown from Frank. -4, -0, gets 2 energy.
That's nice for Frank. That's going to allow him to keep the beats flowing in the air here.
Yep.
And as it stands, it looks like he's going to take 5 damage in the air here and drop to 8. While still setting up. 6 damage in the air. There was actually 2 prowess triggers that turn, one from the freighter and one from the enchantment there. You could just kind of feel Ryne falling further and further behind.
Yeah, playing another Kujar Seed Sculptor, giving a counter to the Fairgrounds Warden, and they'll attack.
Frank has deftly left up an island there just to make Ryne think about his options, but he doesn't have any.
Yeah, Renegade Freighter is fast becoming one of my favorite commons in the set.
That's funny. It's fast becoming one of my least favorite commons in the set.
We like to play different decks, I think,
Yeah, I
Marshall.
keep getting ran over by that stupid card. It's good. It's very good.
So that's a trusty companion from Frank. It's a 3/2. Going to use it to crew the freighter. Choo-choo.
So the dog's on the pain train.
Yep. A dog's driving a train. Be terrified. It also has trample. No big deal.
Yeah.
Multiform Wonder blocks the Cloud Blazer. Ooh, Appetite for the Unnatural from Ryne.
That's nice here from Ryne.
Great.
He's going to gain some life and take down that Renegade Freighter. That's a huge swing here for him.
Yeah, gain 2 life. And it's interesting, that card main deckable. Would you say so, Marshall?
I think so, yeah. I think it's borderline, but I think that's the one that I'm quite happy to have exactly for situations like this.
Right.
You know, if I don't see a target for it in the first game, I will take it out. I don't think it's a card that you just automatically always want, but I think that it is definitely worth main decking, especially in sealed.
Skywhaler Shot, the follow-up play from Frank, targeting the Gearshift Ace.
He's going to get an extra prowess trigger by playing that now. Scry something to the bottom.
Skywhaler Shot, destroy target creature with power 3 or greater, so the +1/+1 counter on the Gearshift Ace ultimately being part of its demise.
Indeed.
Ether Hub from Ryne.
Hey, that could be really important here. We saw him jump his Wonder there to block the last turn.
Right.
Look, it doesn't have any power right now, but it still has toughness, and
Yeah.
it can still get flying, so it blocked the Cloud Blazer there. And, you know, it takes an energy to get that thing in the air, and he just grabbed an additional energy, so that could actually be pretty important.
Ardar Express
Whoa.
hits the table for Ryne.
All right. Well, we know who's winning the train fight here.
Yep.
It's Ryne.
8/6 Menace. It's nothing to sniff at. When that's coming at you, it's pretty scary.
Yeah, its crew cost is 700 though. So
Yeah, the crew, the crew cost is 4, so it's or is it 5? It's pretty significant.
Yeah, it's huge. All right. This is interesting. This game has really
Yeah.
gotten kind of tight here. It looked like Frank may just run away with it, but that is not going to be the case here.
He's lining up his attacks. Yep, he's going to fly the Hyena.
Mm-hmm.
Multiform Wonder blocks the Cloud Blazer. Takes 4.
It's going to put him to 1.
Passes the turn.
Frank's at a very precarious 9 life here with 2 blockers back. Remember, the Express has Menace.
Yep. It's pretty scary if Ryne has a removal spell for either one of those blockers.
Yeah, Frank, though, with 2 cards in hand and all of his mana up, it's a little scary from Ryan's perspective, but he knows he's going to be dead next turn anyway, just to the board that he sees.
Yep.
So he's going to have to go for it. This is also an important draw step here for Ryne, as, you know, he could draw something to help crew the train.
Just has to pass it back.
Well, maybe that means he's got a removal spell here.
Frank takes it. 2 games to none.
Yeah, that's going to do it. So Frank's the guy, I guess. He is a limited specialist, and he showed you why.
Yes,
right
he
there.
certainly did.
Yeah.
I was just